There's been a lot of discussion lately about the endings of manga. To be clear, I don't want to argue all the endings are bad or anything like that. I certainly haven't read every manga, and your taste may vary depending on how you view this video. This is because most manga will end sooner than you think. With My Hero, JJK, and推しの子have just concluded their final arcs, there seems to be some controversy amongst manga fans. Many people tend to ignore the manga industry and the impact it has on other creators. The reason why manga artists have poor health is just because the creative and restricted deadlines tend to lead to these very unhealthy schedules. I usually stay away from huge manga spaces and form my own opinions with my community because everyone would rather focus on a popular thing rather than having an actual genuine discussion about it. Because when manga ends, all these bandwagons care more about the discourse rather than actually having a discussion about the endings themselves. Since my video on Shonen did well, I wanted to treat myself with a video going over mangaka. The Japanese work culture is very strict, and it's a common issue for the people who work hard and long hours beyond the amount they are paid for. It's uncommon for people to suffer in Japan due to the overwork. The problem is clearly apparent in the manga where thousands of mangaka are trying to get serialized in the manga industry, where they spend hours in an entire week of having 3 hours of sleep is common for mangaka. The lack of sleep pressure by the readers and the body issues for spending 60% of the day to draw art while writing the story. Artists have hiatus breaks that can just last for years on end in case of Berserk and Vagabond. In manga, creators which don't take over someone else's series start out by producing one-shots. If one of those one-shots is well received, they might get a short-term feature. A test run of 3 to 6 months or 11 to 12 chapters in a weekly, monthly manga anthology magazine. If this series proves successful, it gets re-upped, especially if their pages get collected into a tankobon volume. Each subsequent contract tends to be a bit longer and gives the creators greater latitudes. In Oda's case, he's been doing weekly manga since 1997, writing up to 1,000 chapters on One Piece, and has been going on hiatus due to health issues and burnout. It's a combination of overwork, bad eating, and sleeping habits due to overwork. It's the worst for artists who have to do popular series weekly magazines because they have to produce 18 to 20 chapters of comics every week, in which is difficult with the assistants they have. You see it less with mangaka who work in slower paced magazines like monthlies and bi-monthlies. There are, of course, exceptions, but generally manga is built on success, and a proven audience earns you a longer publishing commitment. Many manga authors suffer from health issues because of their jobs. Many of them have to take breaks every now and then. Sometimes authors take breaks just like any other normal human being. In the worst cases, something happens to the author's health and the manga just gets interrupted like that. The biggest example is High School of the Dead. The manga ended abruptly because of the sudden death of the author Daisuke Sato in March of 2017, leaving the series unfinished with no conclusion to the story. The last chapter was released in April of 2013 following a long hiatus. This comes from an interview with Soji Sato, who illustrated both High School of the Dead and currently wrapping up Tri-Age X. In his interview back in 2017, Soji Sato wanted the series to end in Volume 6 because it was supposed to be in a short term between series until his friend Daisuke Sato recovered. Daisuke Sato was an outstanding writer. His commitment was out of this world. High School of the Dead gained a large traction of fans because of how much the readers connected with the main cast of characters. This makes a lot of sense, and you could always see this care for the characters in the series. Even though it was super fan servicey, it never felt like a soulless cash grab the way so many other similar series do. There was always a genuine interest in the characters. It's a story about a group of survivors struggling with morality that is constantly tested, and the changes it brings to a character should be constantly examined within the narrative. It's about people dealing with themselves, trying to overcome their own fears. This intentional plot is always about survival, but then it evolves into a spotlight on societal issues and moral collapse. Despite its unfinished ending, the main cast of characters are hopeful and optimistic, not letting cynicism or despair get to them, but staying strong as a group of individuals, never letting go of their humanity. Some manga go on indefinite hiatus due to the health issues of their creators or creative burnout. In most cases, the author is given a deadline to finish it. Some authors don't believe or keep pushing for the deadline until they finally can't put it ahead anymore. Other authors manage to get a decent ending even if it was not what it intentionally was. For example, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Manga was on its final arc, intended to be a longer arc. Takahashi had to cut down some plot lines. The story was rushed, and Takahashi only had a few more chapters to finish the story. He wanted the ending to be satisfying for both the reader and himself. Many Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans who have not read the original manga want a reboot to fit with the modern times, which is unrealistic and doesn't work. Pharaoh's story is done. They couldn't make a new series with all the OG characters without him, because the original manga was never just another product. It was a piece of art which reflects the late great Takahashi's core beliefs. Stories like Yu-Gi-Oh! R and Transcendent Games do not have anything interesting to say or tell a unique story without referencing the past, and only exist to sell a product rather than tell an actual story when many readers disregarding it. I tend to feel like most anime and manga fans in general don't acknowledge that the artists who are making these series are human beings. The Gray Man is still being written and is currently on chapter 248. However, because the manga has been in the works for so long, there have been many hiatus between publications. Many people have been wondering if it's still going on today. Then you have series like Blue Exorcist. Kazue Kato, in October 2024 issue of Jump Square magazine, Kato announced on Twitter that she had a surgery and ongoing treatment after a health scare earlier in the year. I wish Kato all the best. She deserves all the love and admirations. Many manga fans want to see their favorite series pumped out to experience it, but some fans will outright ignore the mangaka's help. Many fans have called this the manga ending curse. Either a series is on hiatus or a manga has a rushed, unsatisfying ending, which I feel many fans boil manga discussions down to. Manga can be short or long running. The author can't predict the longevity of their own works. Gegege Akutami, the author of JDK, was forced to change the series into something it wasn't, rushing plot lines and the art due to these weekly deadlines. The unfinished panels from chapter 150 have been fixed in volume 17's release of the manga. Here's an old weekly schedule of Shibashi Hiroshi, the creator of Noro Rise of the Yokai Clan. It can't be healthy nor productive to be working so much, having barely few hours of sleep while sacrificing your own health and hygiene to publish a chapter every week. The same thing happened to Koji Inada, the artist who created Beat the Bandel Buster. The artist became ill in 2006, forcing the manga on hiatus. The manga came back in 2016 to wrap up the arc. Then it was released in Takoban. It came back in Jump's new magazine. He made a recovery in 2018 and resumed work on the series. I wonder what the heck happened. I've been searching for information for a long time, but I haven't found a single word about the illness or what he's doing. I still haven't heard any news about it, and I'm concerned about the author. Then you have Yu Morocco, the author of Mo Ippon, a sports manga about female martial artists. Despite some of his works being cancelled in the past, he talks about his experience working in the manga industry, being able to write 30 volumes of Mo Ippon. Because the manga industry within include Manga and others don't want to suffer or overwork themselves due to the pressure of being a mangaka. Yu Sensei then goes on to say how the manga industry doesn't pay enough respect to the author. He wrote a sports manga about financial issues being the premise of the story, and having these young female characters confronted with these issues, applying his own real-life experience into the story itself. Even as a casual reader who owns the manga and is currently buying all the Takoban volumes in Japanese, I feel bad for a majority of these creators, and artists are often end up straying from their attention in the process of churning out art instead of another. Because money matters in the long run over artistic vision. The manga industry is a business at the end of the day, and if the manga doesn't sell well, it will be canceled or stop its publication. Another example is Samurai 8. The thing is that Shonen Jump gave Kishimoto the opportunity to pen his manga in the hopes that it would become a flagship title for Weekly Shonen Jump. As such, there was a significant investment and advertisement to engage people into reading the manga. However, the manga did not deliver either critically or financially. The volume sales were well under the unexpected numbers, so all the money they poured into the advertisement for it went down the drain. It's kind of similar to what happened to Siren. It ranked poorly in the magazine polls, leading to the series ending sooner than the author intended. Despite his series being cancelled, he's still active online, sharing posts from fans who love the manga to this very day. Ultimately, something needs to change to protect the health and lives of the endlessly overworked creators. I've seen many people lambast authors for the amount of breaks they take and how degenerate people are when it comes to demanding manga. Yeah. Anime and manga is insanely demanding work that doesn't pay off. I honestly feel bad for the people whose work gets axed from the publisher because the posts are not in their favor or something personal in their lives happened to them. I'm curious what people think, though again, just to reiterate, I'm just saying the endings are rarely universally celebrated. Instead, we are seeing fandoms infighting on a general air of disappointment. It takes an insanely skilled and experienced artist to manage to deliver a good story from start to finish. With the time they have under these deadlines, the interference they have, and while keeping it profitable enough to stay afloat and not get axed, just managing to actually draw it out is already a monumental task on itself. People need to remember and check their expectations instead of jumping into this like, oh my gosh, this manga isn't like any other thing else. It's so good. I want to soak the author off. Oh my god. Type bandwagoner energy. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below and I'll see you later.